Hi, everyone. Welcome to assignment 2. So it's Saturday evening for me now, and most of you are still working on your assignment, but I thought I'll get this done early so that when you submit tomorrow, you can jump in and take a look at assignment 2 and therefore be able to at least start working early or at least start understanding what this assignment is about so that you can run through the requirements and prepare during the week. You will also come prepared for the webinar with the questions if you have any, because now the assignment will be at least a little bit more clearer to you. So this assignment is about customer journeys and trying to understand how the customer journey goes through in terms of purchase, the path to purchase, and also looking at which organizational touch points they come into contact with and how can we improve that and build on that. We all know that organizations are under a lot of pressure to improve customer experience. And for customers, on the other hand, one is they're spoiled for choice. Two is they're also bombarded with information. And sometimes it becomes difficult for customers. So making that customer journey as easy as possible or seamless as possible becomes really important. A key area that also becomes important is understanding customer influences, especially around the micro moments that they go through, and trying and understanding those and considering what some of those are in planning out organizational responses and touch points. So let's take a look at that and see how we can use that to build on our organization and enhance its capabilities and improve customer experience. So this assignment covers all 4 of your course learning objectives, but I think course learning objective 1 and 2 is really important, and those are the key areas that we will discuss. So those 2 are basically around the effectiveness of the communication tools the organization uses, again, aligned to customer acquisition, engagement, and retention, and also mapping the customer journey, and through that, identifying opportunities for value creation. A key part in this is about customer digital traces, and I think we touched on this in the week 3 webinar. But we will work a little bit more in depth to achieving that in this assignment as well. This is a report assignment. Again, you're working individually, which I think is good news for most of you. This report is around customer journey and opportunities, and it's 1,500 word assignment. It's a little bit more heavier in terms of content that you have to put in, maybe a little bit more research as well that you might need to put in as a result. And 1,500 words plus or minus 10%, which means you can go up to 1,600, and then weighing 40% of your marks. In terms of submission date, it's the 2nd of October. There is one slight error if you manage to catch it on Canvas. I think it says 13th, it says 7th of October, whatever. That's not the date. The date is the 2nd of October. And then a key area that I want to quickly discuss with you is with regard to the word count. Again, this is a key challenge that a lot of you will have to go through, and I think you probably by now managed to navigate that with assignment 1. But again, even with this, again, there is a lot of requirements, and getting that in 1,500 word report will be one of your biggest challenges. And you need to have that at the back of your mind. How do I say what I need to say in the most effective manner possible? And maybe once you read through the assignment or the content that you've written, you might then sometimes have to go back and connect to the assignment requirements and then say, okay, which ones are needed by the assignment, which ones are not. And then you might, as a result, you might have to cut and chop a little bit here and there and adjust for those to meet that requirement of the assignment itself. And I think that's the key part of this assignment as well, right? Or rather, a key challenge. So let's start with the introduction. Introduction is pretty much the same as what we did for assignment 1. I'm okay for you to use the same content, but don't cut and paste the same content into this, because you cannot use previously submitted material. That goes as part of academic misconduct. So change the content around. You can change some of those, rewrite it, but the content can be the same. That's fine. So it's basically around the country geography that the business operates in, which in your case is Australia for most of your businesses, mission, objectives of the business, what kind of business model it has, if it has a specific model for its revenue generation, discuss that, and current performance. Main purpose of the report, and I think you can easily outline that. For this part, there is no marks, so you will have to keep this as brief as possible. Whatever you put in here is not really going to earn you any marks. The key parts of the assignment are actually two. This is the first one of that. This is about collecting digital traces that identify customer pain points and opportunities. There are three or four requirements here that needs to be met. First is to analyze the market offerings and the primary target market of the organization. So you can look at what key products or key product pillars, etc., if they have sorted out their information, if they have looked at different grading or different categorization of products, then those against key customer segments. I have no problem in you using the Roy Morgan Helix personas to identify which customer segments. Ideally, you will keep it to one or two. I don't think you should go beyond that because it just increases the complexity of your assignment. So keep it simple. And I think two is at the most. And I don't think you need to do anything more than that. That's more than sufficient. You will then need to collect and analyze customer digital traces. Now you'll do this by using different technologies as well as different information that's available to you, and I'll discuss that shortly. And through this, you will analyze customer pain points and moments of truth. Now, quickly jumping into that part, if you look at, like, for example, if you use SEMrush or SimilarWeb, Seeability, Hootsuite, these softwares, they'll give you a myriad of information. You need to look at which ones you need to look at. You don't have to analyze each one of those in detail. You can, you can discuss the key points, and it might be 2 or 3 of them together. That's fine. For example, what kind of customer demographics are available or visible to you? For example, I know SimilarWeb will give you information with regard to gender, not necessarily age category and things like that. I don't think that information is available with anyone. But again, if it is, then you can cite that. Then where is the majority of the audiences from? What kind of traffic sources, for example, desktop, mobile device, or they're coming in from social networks or affiliates, etc., that kind of information. And to translate that into pain points and understand how that may drive pain points, etc., is you can look at social media comments or posts that may be there. You can look at product review sites. You can look at Google reviews, that kind of information to get that information. Some of the ways that you can also get is, like, for example, if you can find information with regard to bounce rates, loading times, etc., on websites, those also might lead to customer pain points which you need to consider. So you can look at that and then look at, okay, which information is available for you and which of them might be useful as well in terms of tracking customer experience. And then through that, what are the what opportunities exist for the organization to address those pain points and create value for customers. So as a result of this analysis, what do you think the organization can do? What are the opportunities that it has to create value for its customers? Again, about 2 recommendations, or 3 at the most, would be more than sufficient. Summing up this and bringing together, identifying those opportunities would really be important. Consider like this. Say you're doing an analysis, and once you finish the analysis, you want to establish key gaps. Okay, this is that gaps which you will do. So let's jump into the next part. This is the customer journey mapping part of it. So in this, you will have to develop a customer journey map. I'll talk about a journey map in a short while. I'll also run you through an example. So you need to identify key activities of the organization for each of the customer phases. and then consider the different micro moments that a customer goes through in terms of, information search, wait times, load times, responses, finding things, finding products or services that they want to buy, fulfillment issues, delivery process, the list goes on, right? Look for that. You need to reflect those in your journey map, and that's important. So as a result, what are the moments of truth and also the points of friction? How well are they being managed? How well are resources allocated to meeting these encounters? And then how do they contribute to customer acquisition, engagement, and retention? Okay. Addressing that part about customer acquisition, engagement, and retention is key. And I think that because I think you need to address that as well, because when you discuss your journey map, those becomes key aspects for you to consider anyway. So finally, you will wrap it up by addressing what else can the organization do in a digital marketing perspective. Again, focus when you make recommendations, basically look at customer acquisition, engagement, and retention. Consider opportunities for reselling, cross-selling, referrals, reactivation, the use of MarTech stacks in the organization, etc. And through that, look at how you can improve the customer journey. Again, different sources of information. We discussed this in week 3, and I'll discuss it again in not in week 4, but in week 5, about digital tracers and how you can use this information to get the key information that you want for your assignment. This is a customer journey map. So this is something, I think this is also linked in your assignment in Canvas. So you can look at this. You've got the customer stages: awareness, consideration, decision, delivery, loyalty, and then customer activities, customer goals, touch points, and the customer experience. Again, customer sentiment here becomes really important, and showcasing that visually is I think is important, because in this, then somebody who's reading this clearly identifies, or you can notice where the pain points are. For example, here there's a pain point here, the customer is frustrated. Over here you can see the customer is very happy because it shares experience, etc. And showcasing this visually becomes really important. Here are a couple of steps that you can do. I've just put this in. This is a very extensive journey map, and I don't think you need to go to this extent to develop. This level of a journey map is more than sufficient. This format is available, and I'll talk about developing journey maps again on your own separately. But more than happy for you to use this format, which is available to you. You can just overwrite this. There is, I think there is this is a form that can be edited as well. This is another journey map that you can use. This is the most simple one. But again, you can see the customer sentiment is showcased visually. So the customer journey is quite evident to anybody who's viewing it, and understanding pain points, moments of truth, etc., becomes much more easier to address. You can use Miro. You can use the access that I have provided. I'll probably share a separate access, and you can use in any other boards to create journey maps for you. But again, one of the key things that I would tell you is, when you use a journey map, make sure that the journey map, the contents are readable. That's really important. So you can put in a journey map, but if the reader cannot read it, then it becomes pointless. So make sure when you put in the journey map that the content is readable, and it's formatted in such a way that it is readable in the report. There are a couple of steps here, and we talk about this in week 4 or 5, the different steps to creating a journey map. Finally, conclusion and references. Again, no marks for the conclusion, but there is marks for referencing. Sources, different choices of literature. Again, journals, books, magazines, articles, whatever, business magazines. Look at some of these. There are a couple of Australian business magazines, etc., that you can use for some of this information, and these were discussed earlier. Industry databases such as IBIS, WARC for your companies, and your companies and the particular industries. Then company reports, if there is any websites, if there are any industry reports, you can use those. These are reports by PwC, Deloitte, Ernst & Young. There might also be more boutique agencies, etc., who've done work for them and then, put them out as, case studies, so that, they can get some visibility and mileage as well. I've also linked the Roy Morgan Helix personas here. You can use this if you want to. And again, that's a free PDF that's available to everybody. Even if you just type in saying Roy Morgan Helix personas.pdf, you should get this. And this is what that link is about. Just completely focusing on just the course material is not sufficient. How many references? 12 to 14, I think, is good. Again, it's not about the quantity, it's also about the quality. If you, for example, 12 references, if you use the company website, for example, that's just one reference for me, even though you might reference multiple pages. Okay, so please be aware of that. Wider reading is really important to do this, because there are key aspects that you need to consider. Use your own words, don't copy paste, don't regurgitate from literature, don't use inverted commas and quotes unless it's really, really relevant. Using the Harvard RMIT format, again, is important. That's a key area. You get marks for that as well. And you also need to provide both in-text references and the reference list, both in line with Harvard RMIT. There is sort of resources in the Easy Site tool via the Learning Lab. Writing and grammar, again, key marks available here. For grammar, for sentence syntax, all of that vocabulary. Usage of teal peel is something that I would urge you to consider. There is references here. It just helps you to write better, also more succinctly. When you focus on this format, you become really focused on what your paragraph content is about, because you start with a paragraph heading, then you have the content, then you close that particular section off with a conclusion. So those are really important, and I think that will really help you. One is to keep your paragraph small. Two is to be able to write more succinctly as well. So that also would help you in this, to avoid lengthy paragraphs and sentences. There is a lot of links here. Just use this by all means. There's 5 marks for writing and grammar, as there was marks for referencing as well, 5 marks. So key focus areas, just to wrap up, demonstrate good thinking. In terms of your presentation, it's important to be critical, and I think that's a key element. Again, the company may be doing a lot of things right, but just discussing what the organization does correctly alone, or what it has done, etc., is not really being critical. That is more or less descriptive writing. So talk about what has gone, what's worked well for them, what's gone wrong or not worked as well. You can probably also, when you want to look at, let's say, for example, that for the organization, they might have done really well, but if you look at industry, etc., or key competition, they might not be doing too well. Like, for example, Kohl's is doing pretty well with its digital marketing, but if you compare it using digital tracers, you see that they're lagging behind Woolworths on a lot of those counts. So you can bring those in. That allows you to demonstrate whether that organization is actually doing well, and also whether they're actually using the correct metrics to measure themselves. Okay, so that's important. Again, using theory to map key information and present that in terms of models, framework, theories, all that is important. My bad, there is a typo here. This should be weeks 3 and 4. Ensure that you address all assessment requirements. Then read different sources of information, which I have spoken to you about. Be mindful of the word count. Again, tables are not included. Tables are included in your word count. That is really important for you to consider. So tables is not a part out of the word count. Please make sure that tables consider word count. And then if you're using infographics and visuals, it's really good, but make sure they're discussed and in your content. and also make sure that key text within those are readable, especially where the journey map is concerned. There is no point in having a figure or a visual in your report if it is not going to be discussed or if it's not readable. This is the marking criteria. Again, be visible. Make sure that you are aware of these key requirements. What goes into a distinction, what goes into a high distinction, and those needs to be considered. So when you say comprehensive evaluation, that includes it would include your ability to have key information presented, including what's working well, what's not working well for the organization. It's not just descriptive writing, so do consider those aspects. I'll leave this here. I left this here. I presented this to you last time as well, but again, I'm just leaving this here for you to read. These are some examples of previous assignments for this same unit. Again, you can see some aspects of critical writing here. So do take time to read this. This PowerPoint is available to you. If you need an extension, closing date for extensions is 29th of September. Please remember that. Finally, your assignment guide is key. There is no perfect answer, only key information in the report. And as always, I'll leave you with Calvin and Hobbes. Don't wait till the last minute and last minute panic. That's not where you get your inspiration from. Right. So let's do this. If you have any questions, raise it on assignment 2 forum, or we can discuss this at the webinars. I hope this information is useful, and bye for now.